Good morning. I'm Gary, and I will be your instructor for this morning. I got a question for you. Have you ever been lost? Gotten turned around from where you're at? Now, what did you do when that happened? Nowadays we go Siri or we go Google Maps, help me out, please. We pull out our phone, right? Well, when I was younger, we used to pull out Rand McNally. And if you have no idea who that is, well, those are old-fashioned paper maps. Thompson guide. But if you're also like me and you're married, just ask your wife and she'll help you out with your directions, I promise. So, it's really important, and especially out here in the desert, even in a big city, to know where you're at and how to get back to where you need to be. And diving is no different. We want to plan our dives and dive our plans. Okay. I want to give you a story about not planning a dive very well or diving our plan very well. I remember the first time I dove with Miss Catherine. Wow, this was a fun dive. We jumped in the water at Shaw's Cove, beautiful day, and again, first time together, and somebody else is leading the dive, and there's 5 of us in the group, and we dropped down, and I don't know, 3, maybe 5 minutes later, the guy who was leading the dive and 2 other guys, they're gone. We cannot find them. And so Miss Catherine and I, we, being good divers, we stay together, we stay with each other. We search for a minute or so, and then we're just like, we're going up. So we get on the surface and we're sitting there wondering what's happened, and we're sitting there, we sit there probably a good 30 minutes, and all of a sudden, the group of 3 pop up way hundreds of yards away. And so Miss Catherine and I swim out to them, and then we have to swim in. But unfortunately, we couldn't swim into our cove. We ended up in a whole different cove. Needless to say, they were out of air. We had full tanks of air because we'd been sitting on the surface. But we had to climb up a slope. We had to walk down a road, quarter mile, half mile, and then we had to come back down. Now, in this whole process, injuries happen, and So I guess the value in understanding how to navigate underwater is to make sure you surface where you need to surface, and to make sure you have air when you're surfacing, okay? So by the end of the lesson today, you're going to be able to plan and navigate an equilateral triangle. So in this, we have, equilateral square. I apologize, thank you. So our objectives of this lesson today, we're going to review compass. All right, can't even spell there. We're going to review compass, okay, and how to take a heading and everything. We're going to review our kick cycles. Now, remember, we did these all during our basic open water class, okay? And then today we're going to be introducing a new concept, and we're going to navigate an equilateral square, okay? So these are our 3 objectives that we're going to do today. So let's take a look at a compass. So let's review a compass. Now, everyone should have a compass in front of you. There's multiple ways to have compasses attached to you. You can have one on your wrist. You could actually have one built into your computer. So if you're really into the tech stuff, get one your computer is in, go ahead and get one attached to your computer. This is actually the kind I like to use on myself. It has a retractor on it. I hook it to my VC, and it's nice and easy. This one, actually, if you see, it actually attaches to one of your hoses, but they all primarily work in the same way. This will become a primary piece of equipment you will want to have on you, okay? But pretty much they all work the same way. They're just attached a different way. Okay? So I guess I would say get comfortable. on how you want to use it, okay? Now, basically, what is a compass? Well, this compass is water-filled, it's pressurized, it has a floating card in the side of it. And if you kind of see, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but if you're taking a look at it, the floating card in it has the 4 cardinal points on it. And it actually then also has degrees built into it as well, okay? And it works on the magnetic north system. So the magnetic north needle will always find magnetic north, okay? So there's also other parts to this, the red line. This red line is fixed on the glass. It does not move on the glass, it sticks. It's called our lubber line. It's our line of travel. It's how we travel. It's gonna be our direction of travel. Another component we have is a bezel. Now the bezel actually moves. You can turn the degrees on it, okay? It goes right and left. So it's that. Another thing is a window. You see the beautiful window here? The beautiful window here is actually will give us the degrees as well. So we can look through there and we can take a heading off of that, okay? Now, on the bezel, let's go back to the bezel. On the bezel, there are 2 index markers, or 3 actually. There's a double index marker and then the single index marker. So I'm going to refer to the double index marker as the doghouse. I'm going to also refer to north as the dog. So when I say put the dog in the doghouse, or I say put north in the doghouse, you understand we're going to take our bodies and we're going to rotate ourselves until north moves in to the doghouse, into that double index point, okay? So, a couple things to remember about a compass. I want to keep it flat when I'm using it. I'm just gonna lock it up here, and if I turn it, if you notice, I locked it north, nothing's really gonna move. I need to flatten it, and all of a sudden this thing just starts spinning on me to find north again. We want to keep it flat. Another thing we want to make sure is we keep it away from our body. That's the reason I personally like the retractor. I can pull it out because what do I have on my back? I have a metal tank. I have lead weights on me, okay? So we definitely want to keep it away from our body so it does not lock up on us. So, we've reviewed the components of the compass. Now, I want to review how to take a heading on our compass, okay? So it's very simple. We're not going to get complicated here. We're going to take a very simple heading, and we're going to turn our lubber line to the heading we want. Not our lubber line, excuse me. We're going to turn our bezel to the heading we want. So let's just go ahead and take a 30-degree heading. I'm going to turn my bezel to where it's 30 degrees. You see I have 30 degrees right there on that line. If you have a single line, some of you will have a single line. I have now put 30 degrees right on that single line, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I have that's going to be my line of travel. I now want to move my body until north lands in the doghouse. Which direction are you going to be pointing? Very good. Okay, we're going to be pointing this direction. So let's try it one more time. Take your compasses and let's take let's take a 150-degree heading. How are we going to do this? Very good. We're putting 150 right there on the lubber line, right there. And now I'm going to get it flat, get it away from my body a little bit, and I'm going to move until north. I'm going to move my body until north is pointing is in the doghouse. So which way am I pointing? Excellent. All of you are pointing that direction. Very good. Okay. So do we have an understanding of how just the basic understanding of set the lubber line, turn the bezel, rotate our body until north the dog ends back up in the dog house. Excellent. Okay. Next thing we want to review is our kick cycles. Actually, if you will open your advanced open water books to chapter 3, page 33, 34, actually goes back into the kick cycles. And that's chapter 3. We want to make sure we have that out in front of us. So kick cycles is the way we are going to measure our distance underwater. Now, I don't know about you. I do not keep a tape measure with me when I'm jumping in the water to measure how far I'm going. Okay? So, to determine how far we're going, we did this when you did your open water class, but how we're going to do this, we want to make sure we test this every so often. Because I know when I changed gear, I went from a nice set of manta rays fins, and I decided, hey, I want to go to split fins. It changed my kick cycles. And then I changed to some Scuba Pro Novas, and guess what? It changed my kick cycle again. So how we determine how far we go is based upon our kick cycles. Now, what is a kick cycle? It is a full cycle. It's not like this. It's 1, right? It is 2. It's a full cycle. We go, if you started kicking with your left foot, you end up kicking with your left foot again. That's where it's at, okay? So, how we determine this is you go to a pool, go to a lake where there's no currents or anything, and then you test this out. But again, I recommend you doing this every so often. Document where you're at in your kick cycles. Okay? Now, next thing. So we've reviewed our compass, how to use it. We've reviewed our kick cycles. And now, what is an equilateral square? What is an equilateral square? Come on, somebody?
It's a square with 4 equal length sides.
It is a square with 4 equal sides. Remember, a square has 4 90 degrees, right? And if it's 4 equal sides, that means there are 4 sides that are equal length, okay? So when we're talking about an equilateral square, right? It means there's 4 sides that are equal with 4 90 degrees in it. So when we do our dive plan, we're going to do a dive plan. Remember, we're going to have a dive plan. We're going to plan our dive, and we're going to dive that plan. So if we do this right, and you start here, and we have 4 equal sides, and we make our perfect 90-degree turns, we should end up right back where we started from. So in doing an equilateral square, there are multiple things we need to be aware of. Number 1, we need to be aware of the travel, which direction we're traveling in. Number 2, we need to make sure that we're making 90-degree turns. Number 3, we need to count our kick cycles. And number 4, when we're making our 90-degree turns, we want to maintain neutral buoyancy. Why do we want to maintain neutral buoyancy?
We don't damage anything.
So we don't damage anything. Hey, we're visitors in an environment that we want to take care of. So when we make our 90-degree turns, we want to make sure we maintain our buoyancy. We do not want to drop down onto the ground and turn ourselves and everything like that, right? Okay, so if we start here and we want to go a certain distance, let's say we want to go 15 kick cycles. We're going to do 15 kick cycles. But we need to take a heading. So let's go ahead and take a heading right now. Let's go ahead and just take that. Let's go back to that 30-degree heading we originally started with. We have our 30-degree heading, and I'm going to turn myself until I put north in the doghouse. And so we're starting at a 30-degree heading. I kick 15 times. I now come to my first turn. Maintain neutral buoyancy. I am now going to add 90 degrees, right? Because I'm turning to the right. Now, what if I forget? What if I forget where I'm at? I'd recommend you have one of these hanging off you. Nice slate. We'll talk about these in a few minutes. But we're going to make a 90-degree turn. So everybody, let's go ahead and turn our bezel. Add 90 degrees. What's 30 plus 90?
120.
120 degrees. So let's go ahead and put 120 on the lubber line. I'm maintaining my neutral buoyancy. I am now going to rotate my body until north. My dog is in the doghouse, and I can either look through the window or I can look straight down on it. And now I'm going to take my 10 fin kick cycles out. Right? Okay. I got my 10. I got my my 15. Now I'm here. I want to add another 90 degrees. What's 120 plus 90?
210.
210. Excellent. So now I'm going to put 210 right on my lubber line. Everybody see it? Awesome. Very good. And what am I going to do? I am going to rotate my body until north is back in the doghouse. Do you see that? And I'm doing this at what? Neutral buoyancy. So now we're at 210. I'm going to do another 15 kick cycles. And now I'm here at this corner right here. I'm going to add what? Another 90. 210 plus 90 is?
300.
300. So put 300 back, right back on that lubber line. Make sure we have it nice and flat. Now I'm going to rotate my body. Look at that. Now I'm heading right back this direction. Right back towards me pretty much, huh? Okay, now we're at 300. And if I do another 15 kick cycles, guess what? I should be right back where I started from. Any questions? Questions on this, huh? Well, great, good. So, you are going to be getting into, definitely, when you take the rescue course, you're going to be getting into more of this. When we do our rescue search patterns, or we do our recovery patterns and stuff like that, you will definitely be using your equilateral triangles, and you're making these 90-degree turns more and more often. So, again, I pointed out earlier, when we start here, how do I remember? Nice little slate hanging off. These are cool because you get to write underwater. These are really neat. I have one that fits on my arm. It's kind of cool. Or we even have wet notes. You can actually write underwater. These are kind of cool because if your buddies see something, you guys want to record something while you're underwater, we have these available in the shop if you'd like to take a look at those as well. So in review of our equilateral square, remember our main objective was to talk about our equilateral square. Okay? We reviewed how to use the compass, reviewed kick cycles, and we've gone over and solidified, and you now understand how to do an equilateral square. Okay? So we're going to practice the math here for a second, and then we're actually going to practice doing equilateral square here in the classroom. And then as soon as we're done doing that, we're going to head over to the pool, and we're going to practice in the pool. Okay, so let's redo this. We're going to start back again. We're going to do another nice, well, that's not a very good square, is it? But we're going to start at let's start at 70. We're going to start at 70 right here. So let's go ahead and start at 70. Got my slate. I'm going to write down 70. Okay? And we're going to take off. No, we're not going to take off. We're going to use our compass. We're going to set 70 on our compass. Right there, we have it on the lubber line. We're going to rotate until north is in the doghouse. If I go 70, and I go my fin kick cycles. I'm going to add 90. I want you to go ahead and do that. 70 plus 90 is what?
160.
160. Okay, that's 160. Let's do it one more time. 160 and 90. 250. Excellent. And 250 plus 90 is 340. Remember, we keep rotating our body, we keep rotating that bezel. Now, again, using your slates and everything while we're underwater, this will really help you out. So, okay, so we're actually going to practice here in the classroom. We ready for an activity here in the classroom before we head out to the pool? All right. So, Keith, you're going to be my guinea pig here in the classroom. And you have a compass on you?
I do.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to head over here to the big area of the classroom, and we're going to have some fun. Catherine, you gonna follow us? Would you like to follow us with the camera? Okay. So, start here. So we are going to pick a spot here on the floor. I'm going to pick a nice, pretty purple rubber band, and we're going to start right here. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I want you to take a heading right towards the exit door right over there. So I'd like you to put that, and now put north in the doghouse. Excellent. So what is that heading?
That would be 35 degrees.
About a 35-degree heading. Excellent.
35, 40.
Okay, so I'm actually going to make this a little more difficult on you.
All right.
I'm going to put something over your head.
Very well.
Okay, so, and what we're going to do, instead of kick cycles, we're going to do paces. Okay? Remember, a pace is 2 full out. I want you to do 5 paces.
All right.
Okay? So let's keep that. Remember, keep north in the doghouse, and we're going to do 5 paces. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to be turning to the right, so we're going to add 90 degrees. 35 plus 90 is?
The 120.
125. Perfect. So put 125 in the on the bezel, and now rotate your body until north is back in the doghouse.
All right.
Okay, let's take another 5 paces. Excellent. Wow. Okay. Now let's add another 90 degrees. So we're at 125. Let's add another 90 degrees. Okay. 215. Excellent. So we got 215 on the lubber line. Now, what are you doing?
I'm rotating to put red in the shed.
Okay, putting red in the shed, putting dog in the doghouse. Excellent. Now we've taken 5 each time. What are you going to do this time?
5 paces this time.
5 more. Let's do it again.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Okay. Now, last turn. We're at 215. We want to add another 90. What are you going to add to? What?
305.
305. We're going to put 305 on our compass on the lubber line. And very good. You're already rotating your body. I don't need to do that. Tell you what to do. Great. Okay. Let's now take another 5 paces.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Well, let's take a look where we're at. There's our rubber band. You were off by about 6-8 inches. Excellent job.
Works.
Awesome. All right, we're going to head out to the pool and do this exact same thing in the pool.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Let's go.